gentlemen, welcome back to Sinners versus Cynic. We are leaving the continent Europe and we're going to play South America versus North America and part of it even North America West here. So the... Are we fine, Angels? I think we are. Seems to be good. So welcome in, everyone. A short issue there, it seems like. And we have a wonderful new caster actor, mention it, on the debut here, Spectral. Welcome to DBDLeague.
Feeling welcome, man, and I'm very actually excited to see a match like this first round because I've actually casted this matchup, I think, 3 times in my entire career, so it is not a match that I am new to at all, as we're going to be seeing Jason take the chase for and around main building for Sinners. And so I'm actually going to see exactly how they're going to play around this because I do like the loop that they're going to be using right now. It seems like we're going to be seeing a head-on, which is kind of delayed from who is the victim. It is going to be Bucky, and Jason's not going to be taking chases anymore, as Bucky is going to be going over towards his T and L wall. He does have to be fairly careful. He's not going to have any crows to pressure just yet, but he is going to take an M1, as now Angels is probably going to leave him and go down towards bottom side, as Bucky's going to be barreling down towards those corrupted gens. Now, I do not know where Jason is, but it seems like Angels walking around main building might be trying to trail him.
Absolutely, yeah, the survivors here, even though they had to take 2 injuries early on, trying to get the longest possible delay onto the first down here. Angels trying with the crows, but it's not going to be successful. Actually, Jason here just in between these crows, making sure that they're going to stay alive, abusing this main building a little bit, running it perfectly, taking as much time as possible, but going around this filler pallet is also going to be successful. The crows are going to be applied, but Angels needs to be fast now before the crows have been taken off. Will he be able to go for another run? And it seems yes, he is still standing, still going towards the shack side, getting rid of the crows as well. Our killer Angels needs to speed it up. We can only hope that the pallet is not in reach, and he actually manages to go for that. Angels so unlucky here, losing a generator. Spectral, this is not looking too good.
Oh man, like I'm looking at this right now. He did have a very easy down there on Jason, but it seems like he did end up cutting short and did not end up getting it on top. But it seems like Jason running into the killer right now is gonna have to die as far corner as possible, as that slight mistake there on the check spot did cost him a lot. But to be fair, he did have 3 pros to try and avoid. But it seems like that is gonna be the first down of the match after 2 gens, meaning that this pain res is going to have to do a miracle for him, and it might not even, as they could have been doubling a gen. It's probably not going to give much regression, but it seems like he's going to be going basement instead. It's forced agitation. We did see there it didn't get much value, but it is in effect right now. So anybody that could have been nearby is currently going to be slowed down. We're going to be going out of base right now, setting out Birds of Torment. Does end up hitting Sweet Child, who we do know here is going to be on 5. Gustavo's probably going to be setting up for chair save here, but it seems like he's going to be cornered by Angels. Angels has no idea that he's behind this rock at this moment, as he's going to be staying there. Sweet Child going back to this gen at 5 here on the pallet gym, just avoiding the crows as safely as he can, but it seems like Bucky's going to be over here at 10, working this gen fairly close to Sweet Child, but going to be hitting Bucky with crows. Gustavo moving in towards the save, and it seems like right now Sinners is going to play this as safe as possible without taking any risks whatsoever.
No risk being taken indeed, and that is making the survivor team so strong right now. They are carefully walking around the shack here, trying to catch the killer, not going to attack the generator too early. Gustavo here really showing patience, making sure that he's staying hidden here. The crows not going to go into effect, and our killer going back into the basement, making sure that the second stage will come through. It would have been so amazing if Gustavo would have managed to go right in the bag of the killer here. Really well done, however, because I think the killer will kind of rotate away from the basement here, believing that no survivor is so close, and they will go for the people here, exchanging the hook stage, making sure that our Jason, the tunnel out survivor, will not be eliminated soon. And if Jason is able to stay alive, which he will be, because the killer immediately picking Gustavo is huge, because now we have 4 survivors in this trial here. Not entirely sure if the killer realizes, if Angels realizes that too much time has passed, so he rather get some hook stages onto the fresh survivors, or if he's just unsure if he would catch Jason in time with the 4 people. So or so, great counterplay by the survivor team.
Indeed. man. I'm also watching right now. So Gustavo did end up using FTP there, like you did say, but I feel like that could have been a little bit better if it was either done earlier or if at least Jason was able to try and help out. It seems like Gustavo is going to be the next tunnel out, as he's probably just going to stay around here next to these 2 gens. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, it is a pretty fair 3 gen. They're very close. Shaq 7 and 5. Right now, it does seem like Bucky is there. Sweet Child is going to be hit by a crow. Maybe going to be committing to Bucky here, as it seems like Bucky is going to be in a bit of a dead zone. He's going to be running over towards this hill. It's safe to assume that he may have a perk for that, but I don't believe right now that Angels is going to commit to anything just yet. He's sending a bunch of crows over to the gen on 5 just to keep pressuring Sweet Child. We're going to be seeing that killer instinct, showing us that he's still on that gen working, just consistently dodging. Right now, Angels is going to be... Oh, strong dodge there, but he's not going to hit him just yet. No killer instinct as well. Gustavo's going to be going to second state. No sights on Bucky or Jason at all, but it is safe to assume we both know the location of both Sweet Child and Bucky. Jason could be topside, but I don't know how much time right now Gustavo's going to have as long as Bucky is closer than we think.
Gustavo in the basement progressed to the second stage here. Once again, we are asking the questions, where are the survivors? Are they already sneaking somewhere? Bucky rotating in. We have seen him a couple of times in the distance there. Now he's going to be careful, knowing that a crow is around as well, but the survivor team in the meanwhile being efficient on these generators as well. Jason taking the crow here, being in danger. He needs to get rid of that. We do not see a jump into the locker to make it a little bit quicker, but 4th generator, they might sacrifice their teammate because they are actually going into the end game here. 5 stages when Gustavo is dying in the basement. Kate and Ace both fresh up. One of them definitely needs to leave the trial here in order to go for a great result, but I feel like Jason should move in here and making a very quick exchange, making sure that Ace and Kate can escape the trial.
Well, they did end up just taking out Noah, meaning that Bucky's going to be safe for a very long time. He just needs to take one hit and has to be fairly careful about how he decides to do. He's going to be sending a crow up there ahead of time, probably to hit him with it, but it seems like he's not going to be sending it out just yet. They did take out that Noah earlier. Like I said, Bucky is now going to be taking a hit because of that distance is also going to be used. Now, Jason's going to be coming in to take a hit. He's also going to be taking a hit with a crow, meaning that now Sweet Child has to get in the way, which it seems like right now it is going to be a 3 out as Angels is none able to do anything about those perfect body blocks that they did end up performing.
That is so rough, because we were just talking about how we say that Jason should come in to trade and have the 2 fresh hooks escaping, and now all 3 survivors escaped the trial. None of them even had to sacrifice themselves. So we are talking about a huge win condition here, and we are talking about a very, very rough game for the upcoming one. That is going to be 5 stages, 2 fresh survivors, meaning that 6 stages will already be enough. And on the Artist, that is definitely a win condition you can work with. So Cynic putting themselves in a very good spot here. We'll see how Cynic can deal with that in the upcoming trial on Father's Campbell Chapel after a short break. Welcome everyone, a wild story on the housekeeping. So we have a locking loadout mechanism, so before we go into a set, killer and survivor builds need to be posted to remove the advantage of playing killer second and playing for win condition. Cynic sent something in, but sneaked in a decisive strike instead of the 4 people they were meant to play, so that was a balance offense. Our rules say that then the perk slot has to be empty. The reason for that is it would be abusable. You could sneak a rule offending perk in, take one of a half of a hook stage penalty, and then swap it out for a perk you really need later on. And it might be a good calculation for you. Half of a hook stage penalty, maybe getting 3 stages through a know-it or something when you change it. Doesn't work, so you have to take out the perk. Unfortunately, Cynic was a little bit overmotivated, loaded back into the trial before any staff member could even reach them, and we're replacing the perk just as the old times. And Cynic, we are in 2024 now, we're not playing the old rules anymore, so they took another penalty. So basically, they lost half of a hook stage 2 times now, which means essentially 1 entire hook stage is gone here, which is pushing it to 5 stages on multiple survivors as a win condition. And Spectral, I feel like Sinners is very happy about that.
Indeed, man. I mean, having a game set out like that would definitely be a very, very good a good opportunity for them to honestly just take the advantage. I mean, like starting off the game here, we're already seeing him work towards that as right now. Not only did he get a pain risk hook, but he has 2 survivors trying to go for 1 save on top of Wancy, meaning that no one is going to be working on a gen right now that isn't at least being regressed by pain risk passively. So man, that is such a good start for Sinners.
Absolutely. Having this penalty onto Cynic, knowing the perk builds, now playing as a killer, having a good start as well. Hex Ruin still in the trial, a double snipe on top. Things are just falling piece by piece together here for Sinners. This is so beautiful to watch, and even though you have to lock in your perks so you can't adjust them for the win condition, you can still adjust your playstyle, and I feel like camping Vancy into second stage so early is definitely aiming for the win con.
Especially since we are only going to be seeing 1 gen happen versus the gen all the way over here in the corner that Jason is consistently pressuring. We did see a little bit of usage of severed hands there, and it seems like Angel is going to be coming in for the save, but he's going to be blocked. Coming in right behind him is going to be Acid. Acid going into the TNL wall is actually going to have to run around. He does not have much to work with but the window, but here's Angels helping him make his distance away from that loop, but he is instantly going to be down by the Crow as Angels is not going to support it at all. Nini's not around, trying to use that Firecracker, but it is not going to work. And he's going to run directly back to the exact same hook, which we know is a pain risk hook by now, to destroy a gen by 25%. Wait, what? What am I looking? Is that a spectator bug? I swear that was a pain risk hook. Unless they did a change that I haven't realized, that is what? Wait, am I seeing this correctly or what?
I think that behavior either tricked you or... Henu is giving in. Tokens do not get consumed when no gens have progress. Shout out to our team in the background. Thank you so much. There was actually no one in progression enough to go for a token here, which is kind of worrying though, because we need from Team Cynic an absolute incredible progression on the generators, and we need an absolute incredible efficiency as well. So having no stack consumed here is a little bit wild, because Cynic better speeds it up on these objectives. We really need that. And considering that Acid is going into the elimination in just 50 seconds from now, Angel's being busy and trying to rescue the team member, and another survivor rotating in as well and coming too late here, getting injured as well, ending in a 1-for-1. It seems like Cynic is going a little bit into chaos here.
Especially since we did end up just seeing them make that huge mistake. Everybody is injured now, and Nini's going to be on the floor, and we're still chasing the tunnel out as they did try to go for that double save, but it does seem like they were not going to be able to get it in time without one person at least trading. We're going to be seeing Acid get immediately on that gen, and Angel's now going to be in chase at Shaq. He's going to take that window easily. He's going to take the Crow as well. No Shaq power to work with, so he's going to have to take his distance very, very carefully here, as it does seem like he's going to be hit by those 2 Crows instantly. That's going to be picking it up and blocking the survivor there in the distance, who I believe is Wancy or Acid with Thrilling Tremors, which is going to be really, really bad for Cynic, as they're unable to grab any pressure whatsoever. And from what we know, there's no one going over to pick up Nini just yet, but no, as I say that, they are going to end up picking him up. He's going to send a Crow over just to quickly check up on where they could be.
Now 3 injured survivors against the Artist. 4 stages already, reaching towards the win condition very, very soon here. Leaving the generator in the main building while Hex Ruin is being active. We have a long, long list of disadvantages Team Cynic is facing at the moment, and if they don't get into a very, very long chase here in the mid game, then it's going to be really, really rough. Acid doesn't have anything to go to, doesn't have anything to avoid these Crows, so he's going down relatively quickly as well. Angel's still on the hook, progressing into the second stage, into a couple of seconds here, just being rescued now, but the survivor team being cut down to 3. So Sinners playing out of their minds, and Cynic would need to play perfectly from now on, but the next stage is already on the way for Jason here. He's already sniping onto these survivors, so it looks like that Sinners is opting to go for the first set point here.
Yeah, I mean, for Cynic to come back, they would have to get a reset onto all 3 survivors, and then from there on out, play perfectly. So much so to not be pressured by the killer, but Jason's going to be doing that exactly. Is now he's going to find both survivors, going to be setting up a mind game, but it seems like somebody did end up pulling a check spot, and they're going to be keeping Wancy around to probably take a hit. But is there a second survivor here to take a hit for Angels? As now Angels is going to be in chase around the jungle gym. This is going to be a long wall, so he is going to have a fairly safe loop to work with. Ends up missing that Crows. He's going to be going back around towards the palace side, maybe even perhaps greeting it a little. Goes for that greed. He is going to make this window because of that Crow. Now he's going to take his distance going back around. He's going to safely make over to his pallet, but he does have a Crow there set up. Oh, is he going to be able to use it? It seems like no. Angel's going to be taking the smart pathing output as he's now going to be chasing Wancy, and Angel's in Shack. Wancy takes the tag, moving himself over towards main. As now Jason's going to be redirecting his attention back over towards Angels, who could still be in this area, which it seems like they are, hitting them with that Crow. Now going to be around Shack, watching those Crows to see if he can maybe potentially mind game him, and he does, as he stands still and grabs that a massive amount of distance there with the information of the Crows on top of Angels, which is going to be another down, and the unfortunate set point against Cynic, but better for Sinners as they are going to be taking this set very safely against such a powerful NA team.
Absolutely. Sinners here had a really rough start in the winter circuit. They were very happy to be back because South America was actually not allowed in DBDL for a long time now. Then they made the comeback, immediately signed up for the tournament. A lot of South American DBD Comp fans are with them as well. Very nice people, very hyped. I remember in the first week I was joining the VC and we screamed South America together. And they had a very rough best of 3 afterwards, and they were kind of under pressure to perform well, to represent their community, and it was really heartbreaking to see them going down in the best of 3 really clearly. So it's really entertaining and really great to see that they made such a comeback for today and that they take the first set point here, because they're showing off their full potential here. On the other hand, Cynic is also a great team that is in DBDL basically forever, so I really hope that we can at least have a great game from Cynic in the second set, all the way pushing us into the tiebreaker, because I do think both of these teams would deserve to go into the third set here. But let's see what Cynic is putting up here on the Shack. Angels is going to be in the next chase, going to move around, actually managing to dodge these very tight Crows, trying to move on. It's not going to work out, unfortunately. That's going to be a very quick down, trying to snipe onto the Gen in the distance as well. 60% on the main building, slowly but steady. The progress on the generator is coming in, but still I don't feel like it's enough to tackle the pressure from Team Sinners.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, now we're actually going to be seeing not only the death of Angels, but another pain res, which I feel like did just end up affecting main, as we're going to be seeing that regression, not only because of Ruin, but definitely another gen is going to be regressed a lot. We do still hear Wancy in the area. Let me go real quick. And I do think, wait, was that Wancy or was it just Ninny? But Ninny's going to be taking chase around main, as that is going to be the actual cause of our intention. Going to be trying to use this mind game just to snipe him with a Crow. He's going to be caught in a very tough 50-50 spot. Can he win it? And it seems like he is going to survive for just a little bit longer, but for not long, as he's going to be very close and is just going to safely take that down. But now Wancy is going to be left over here at 7 to be committing to this generator so he can at least get as many points for his team as possible. Tries to avoid that pain res, but it is not going to be a pain res. And just like that, Wancy is going to pop 7 for Cynic, and that is going to be another gen for their points.
Yeah, and I think it's important that they do take a couple of objectives here towards the end, ensuring the best possible performance here, because Cynic is going to stay on the survivor side, and having a very rough game is definitely taking a little bit of your morale and a little bit of your mindset and motivation going into the next set. So getting at least the 4th generator done, hopefully having a good chase here at the main building to end it, and showing Sinners a little bit, hey, if needed, we can run your killer, and taking a little bit of confidence into the upcoming set is the best thing they can aim for now. We can already congratulate Sinners for taking the first set point here, and now we are going to see this very intense 1v1. Wancy, actually a shout out to Wancy, he's one of our artists on DBDLeague. A lot of renders of certain killers and maps you see on the stream are done by Wancy, unfortunately going down and being sacrificed now, but a big shout out there for our wonderful team member. That's going to seal the deal for this first set in this best of 3. We are going to move into the second set with an advantage for Team CYN, and that is going to be the Mastermind being played on the Rakis Yard, a killer that is also very quick. Everything can turn in a couple of seconds here. We mentioned it, Cynic is staying on the survivor side, and we can really only hope for them that they are taking the 4 minutes of break for themselves to kind of work on a strategy, pull themselves together, and then absolutely come back with a shining performance. We will see how they are able to do that after the break.
Hello and welcome everyone back to DBDL. I'm your caster Spectral, joined here by the one and only lovely head of the organization, Direwolf, and I'm here to start you off with this intro against Sinners versus Cynic. And I'm honestly really excited to see for the second set Wesker on Wrecker's Yard, as it is going to be the Cynic survivors. It is going to consist of Wancy, Angels, Ninny, and Acid. Right now we're going to be seeing Wancy take first chase around Shaq, and he's going to be moving over towards the right-ish side of the map, as it seems like he's going to be taking it over mainly towards the corrupt side where nobody is going to be working on a gen, so this is a very safe spot to take chase, as now people can pass or easily get pressure on gens. It seems like he did end up losing the actual location of Wency, but he's going to be catching up to him very quickly. Just charge bound to go around. It misses it, as he's not going to be double backing into a filler loop. Seems like it's going to be a little bit of help from Angels going for that stun, as he did expect him to swing around there, as that is now going to get a lot of distance for Wency, as he's still going to be making his way around Shaq. A bit of a quick exchange, as two survivors are now going to be injured, as now Angels is going to be taking a tag, but he's still going to be committing to Wency, making him waste that pallet there at the jungle gym. But not catching up to him just in time is going to allow him to reposition near another filler pallet instead of going over towards Funbus, and now going to be moving over towards a pallet gem. So a fair quick exchange, but he's still going to be trailing, and as he hits the floor and goes down, swinging through that pallet, and he gets the stun, but he is not going to stay safe for much longer.
Absolutely, and the next survivor already being in the chase as well. 1 down, 1 injury, 2 injuries now. Ninny, the only untouched survivor so far, potentially rotating in to at least reset Angels or Acid, because you really don't want to start off your trial with so much risk being taken. Seems like we do have no one over here. They accepted that the first hook stage is going to come through very early, and just as we anticipated, Angels is going to find the reset here, has to go for spraying as well. Wency, first hook stage, Scorch hook coming out as well. We have a couple of dropped pallets. Pop goes to Weasel is available. So once again, it feels like the list of disadvantages and the list of to-dos Cynic is facing early on is quite high here, and that is very surprising, because after last week, we were really expecting Cynic to be the favorite team here and being in the dominant role, especially since they just barely dropped into the lower bracket here. But it seems like that Sinners has used the week for an absolute incredible preparation, making sure that the first weekend is not going to repeat itself and that they are looking much stronger and more efficient. Pop goes to Weasel being applied on the generator, not just going to leave the trial without any usage, and Wancy will find himself camped into the second stage here. And before everyone is yelling, whenever the killer is having a down so early, they can take the reward of camping a survivor into the second stage, making sure they are progressing, because the elimination early on is the most valuable thing to do on the killer side. You're cutting down the survivor team to 3 individuals. We might see a second generator as a punishment, but I feel like Jason is really happy to live with that.
Exactly, and 100% agree that sentiment, because it does seem like Jason is going to be kicking that gen as well with Pop Goes Weasel and applying Eruption to it, meaning that as long as he gets it down, he could knock out a bunch of progress from these generators, and he is still going to be moving over and staying around a Wency, holding these choke points just to efficiently take care of the survivors and at least have enough information. So as long as Wency dies, he'll know exactly where to go next. Seems like people are going to be moving in closer. Ninny is fairly close by, and we do also know that Angel is on the right side, as Acid is also to be seen there with Ninny, who's going to be moving over towards the top side. Now, they might be setting up for a reset here, as it seems like they're not going to have enough time to go for Wancy. Now, Jason is going to be moving very fast over to where they are going to be resetting. There seems like they're going to be committing to it, but unfortunately, Acid is going to be completely swung at, as now Ninny, trying to block for him, was unable to get it off, meaning that Wancy is not only going to be dead, but Acid is going to be the next hook directly fresh off the mark, as he's moving now towards a very, very close corner of the map, away from legitimately everything, as it is also going to be in a complete zone. But Angels does end up getting a gen before he gets that pain res, as if it could have. Yes, it is indeed a pain res, but it is going to hit that hill gen right here to our right, as Jason's going to be moving over to it. We can see it regressing, and it seems like he might commit to Nini, as we do see those scratch marks, but he's still just going to stay around here, keep his eyes on the hill, and look over to this gen next to Funbus. A little bit of a tough situation here for Cynic indeed, but Sinners right now, I don't think they're worried at all, as this game is kind of smooth sailing. As long as they keep the pressure on the gens to a fair amount, 4K1 is definitely the look through here.
Absolutely, yeah. This is such a difficult spot for Cynic, and we were talking about it during the trials. They needed a very, very huge comeback towards the second set here, and it really doesn't come through. As you mentioned, one survivor is being eliminated. On the other side of the map, someone else is already being thrown on the hook, and unfortunately there's no save happening. Acid will find himself being camped into the second stage once again, because they really gave that pressure to the killer. Angels not progressing a generator. Nini just started a generator. That is looking very different to the Cynic performance we have seen in the first week. They were much stronger. They were still knocked down into the lower bracket, but it was a really close call. And they were doing a really good job, and it feels like a little bit with Sinners growing stronger and stronger every moment in this trial here, they're falling a little bit apart. Now they found a very good timing on when to go onto the hook stage here and when to rescue the survivor, making sure that Acid makes a little bit of distance, but very, very clearly Jason just aiming for the survivor. Actually decides differently now, where he has seen that Acid is making it towards the shack area. They're giving Angels at least a tag. I wouldn't be surprised though if he's going back right onto Acid here, forcing the next elimination. 3 generators being completed so far, not looking good at all, and I think that will be enough time to catch him. Yeah, that is Acid going back onto the shoulder of the Mastermind. Elimination will come through. Angels being injured, 2 gens still standing. Even now we don't have an additional generator, so everything looking against Cynic here. They might want to consider an end game play, so they can go for 4K on 2 gens left and then at least win it due to the end game play and the stages that are walking out of the door here. But they definitely need a master plan.
I'm already watching that gen being regressed by Pop Goes the Weasel, and Nini about to be in chase right now, taking a very fast tag there on the truck. He's going to be forced to pick his choices wisely, and it seems like the choice he's going to be taking is going over towards the new tile over here, and I think he is fairly far away from where Angels could be working the gen. Now he's going to take that ball, but he ends up being completely called out by Jason, as Nini is going to take a very, very hard tag there. Does end up popping this gen at the furthest point of the map, meaning that he's going to be well positioned before Jason is going to make his way over to him, and he might even be able to stealth over for Nini, but he's going to be running out in the open a little bit here, so Jason does have that opportunity to see him, as he's probably going to be set up on hill. I do think yep, walking over. Now he's going to be using his bounce to get a lot closer to him, and it does seem like he ended up catching sight of him, but Angels does not realize it just yet, and now he's going to start running with legitimately nothing but a Z-wall to work with and a dream. He's going to end up vaulting it directly. Now going to be looking back into a medium ball coming through. He does have that life play, and he's going to be making that distance directly off with that exhaustion, but he does also still not have much to work with, as there's legitimately nothing on this side of the map, and he just has to stand still and unfortunately give up. Well attempted by Cynic, but it does seem like their efforts were not enough for Jason's very powerful Wesker.
And that is a very clear win condition as well, right? You don't need to worry about anyone getting out of the door in your survivor game. Sinners, I mean, we need to be careful with the wording, but theoretically, they only need the 5 generators. They don't need to worry about getting someone out of the door. If needed, they can just stick to a generator, take 2 tags, and smash it into the killer's face. And as long as all 5 objectives are being done, they will be fine here. But we have seen today earlier, whenever it looks like very easy, things can very quickly fall apart. May it be because the survivor team is going in with too much confidence, or making a little bit of mistake early on, and then the killer really benefiting from that. So it's very luxury position for Sinners, but definitely not a guaranteed position for Sinners here. Angels is going to go into elimination as well. We're just going to wait it out real quick. Definitely though, Cynic needs a perfect killer game now. We'll be really hyped to see who's taking the responsibility. If it's Angels again, I would assume so. But maybe they are having someone in the back pocket who's showing us an absolute incredible mastermind on the Rack's Yard. We'll see how that goes. Potentially the final trial, and then Cynic has to leave the winter circuit, or they're fighting back for the tiebreaker. Let's see after the break. Welcome in everyone to the potentially last trial of this best of 3. Angels going to take the responsibility on the mastermind. Sinners need 5 gens. Sounds very easy. Let's see if they can do that after a very wonderful performance by WC2024 in the previous trial against Cynic's survivor team. They are in a good spot here. We are on the Wrecker's Yard with no one escapes death. Remember, they have to lock in their perks before going into the set. So Cynic was expecting a strong performance by Sinners here, was planning with a no one escapes death. Unfortunately, it's not going to come in clutch here because the win condition is just all the generators being completed. So basically one perk being useless, at least when we are talking about the win condition here. Unfortunate for Angels, and unfortunate also that he's getting slapped with a pallet right at the beginning. We can already tell the difference. In the previous trial we had 2 injuries very quickly by Jason. Angels, however, needing some time. 80 seconds into the trial, first injury just being now applied, so we can already tell Sinners wants to take the victory here.
And now with the first chase going on to WC2024, which is actually going to last quite a long while, which could mean that they are going to be popping gens here very soon. So let's see how that goes. That's going to be the first one, as WC2024's not going to be making his way out of the dead zone. A lot of distance there, and it seems like he's going to be holding a fairly safe pallet, but now Angels is going to be using the bound. Going over that pallet, WC2024 is going to go be very safe, and Ian does also have a filler pallet here right next to Shaq to work with, meaning that he can chain this in fairly well. Bucky is going to be showing himself. I think that is actually the sprint burst also getting him that little bit of distance. Now he's going to be trying to support Chase. A fair bit of difficulty. Now he's going to have to try and go for it. He does end up getting the tag onto Bucky, but no forced deep wound stayed on it to WC2024. Now he's going to be committed to completely, instantly medium vaulting that window, and he just barely makes it, as now he's going to be making his way as far corner as possible by pre-dropping this edge map pallet. He does have another opportunity to chain with the pallet fairly close by, but he does need to win just 150-50, as now he's going to be setting up that second virtual inbound, but he ends up vaulting into Angels, as now that is going to be the first down of the game, and an instant hook into the far corner of the left side of the map, and that is now going to be the first painter's hook as well, and it seems like they are going to be DCing for some reason. I don't know if that was a mistake or... That's actually going to be really bad for Sinners. That can help Cynic come back and instantly get a tiebreaker.
Yeah, there are 2 options now, ladies and gentlemen. Let me explain for everyone. So option 1 is that it was a game bug and they can prove it. In this case, it would be restarted because they don't take the responsibility. The other option is that it's something on the player side, something like internet or something like electricity. And you might think, how is the player responsible when his internet provider is going down? And we understand it, but we cannot identify if someone was, for example, shutting the router out, shutting the router down, or pulling the internet cable out of the PC when noticing that the game would go bad. Obviously here, Sinners was in a good spot, but if it's behavior, then there's something we can do. If it's something on the player's end, PC crash, internet crash, nothing we can do about it. So right now, WC2024 counts as eliminated, just as he would be hooked, and we will see if they can provide any evidence that is going to change this judgment. This would be done after the trial though. So for now, we are playing out this trial, waiting for an investigation, and then we will discuss it and let you know what's coming out. So yeah, let's see what's coming out here. Definitely the entire trial is just on shaked around, not even finding words for this, because it's a catastrophe for Sinners here. Out of nowhere, 1 survivor eliminated, and you're only 3 survivors against 4 standing generators. That is really, really bad.
but it does seem like Gustavo is going to be doing a big number for his team, as although there has been a minor setback with Jason up. Oh my god, the exact same thing that happened to Bucky happened to Gustavo, but that is going to be a pretty good chase for Gustavo, as now they're going to be down to just one generator before they reach the tie result, and one more before they end up 2-0ing. So Angels is going to have to pick up here, as even though Sinners is down a player, they are not letting up this amazing performance. Bit of scratch marks there from a survivor out there in the distance, but it seems like Angels is not going to be interested in it just yet. Instead, going to be going back to Hook to efficiently stop Bucky, who is fairly close by, and now probably going to be progressing this generator right here, but maybe he's going to be stealthing just for a little while. Angels is making his way over, and it seems like he might actually end up committing to him. Nope, never mind. Instantly, it does a 180 and is now going to be going back to Hook 2. Focus on Vinny, who is a new addition to the Survivor roster and Sinners from what we've seen so far, because I'm pretty sure he went in place of Sweet Child. So definitely a very interesting match to see how Vinny performs. A bit of a mistake there with Bucky not being able to hold that check spot correctly. Is going to take a tag because of it, but he's going to be safe for now, as Angels is not going to commit to the changes yet. Now he has a lot of time to reposition, especially RNG around the top side of the map being kind of generous, no lie. Still going to be committing to him. He does have the fun bus to work with. Gustavo going to the second state, not going to be not taking the pout side, but now even going over towards the third route. Ends up vaulting it, but Bucky is going to go down no matter what. Not going to be taking the window, as I believe he wouldn't have made that either way, but now Angel is going to be going for a slug play, going deep to the corner where he did end up hooking Bucky for the very first hook, but it seems like Vinny was not there and instead was over here at the save, meaning that Sinners is going to have two people on bouts, and Gustavo instantly himself out of that infection. But dude, this is not looking too good for Sinners right now.
Yeah, it feels really, really bad, because they were in a good spot. They were fighting for the victory here. They had, objectively, they had no reason to go for a DC here, but rules are rules. If they can prove that it was the game or behavior, well, then we can do something about it. In any other case, we can't. Because even if we would start to argue now, Sinners was in a good spot, there was no objective reason. If we would do that, then we enter this gray zone interpretation of rules, where it will always come down to decision making and who defines what is a good position and what is not. We will all have different understandings of that. That's why the rules are very, very clear. So we'll see in the background. Staff is already on it. They are gathering evidence. We will look at it later on. We will also play out the trial, because maybe Sinners is still smashing it regardless. Maybe they somehow get these two generators out of the way, and then we don't even need to worry about the disconnect that happened. That would obviously be the best thing that could happen here, that the disconnect is not coming in clutch. But we will need to find out what's happening here. Gustavo and Vinny still being the injured survivors, Bucky being healthy. It seems like they're not going for a reset, because they are smashing the generators, or they are very careful and they're taking their time and considering really, really carefully where they should meet up here on the Wreckers yard. Definitely, as you mentioned, difficult spot. Losing one survivor out of nowhere is just a horrendous position to be in. We also still have 2 Scorch Hook available, so 2 times a disadvantage on the generators is coming in clutch here. We do find the scratch marks now. We can only hope that it's the healthy survivor who can go on a little bit of a longer run here, and that's indeed the case. Bucky has shown good chase time before. Hopefully he can make a miracle happen at Schmep, but it's going to be the quick injury here. So Sinners really struggling right now.
Yeah. I mean, now they did end up just being the tie result. That Angels is going to have to be forced to tee up. I'm not exactly sure how tie results work in DBDL, so it could go one of 2 ways from what I understand. It could either be that Sinners is going to go 2-1, or it is going to be forced into the tiebreaker. But right now, back into the chase. Bucky is going to be keeping it around the Fun Bus pallet, and actually going to be W-King completely away. He does have a pallet here to work with at the distance, but it is going to be kind of difficult to make it, as he's completely zoned away, and he's going to be forced into a tree as he's going to die and now be hooked. But they are now going to be progressing generators on the far sides of the map. I'm pretty sure that is not enough progress for the pain res to be used. So definitely a little bit of more time for Gustavo to work this generator, especially now that Bucky is going to be unhooked safely by Vinny. No sight of the killer just yet on the survivor side, unless he is already moving over towards Gustavo, but it seems like he's not. He is making his way over, but he is definitely a lot more hesitant on where he actually wants to go. But it seems like going over towards where Vinny and Bucky were is definitely the course of action for Angels. He's actually going to be finding Vinny around the front bus pallet, going back around. He expects that ball, but he ends up missing, unfortunately. But luckily, he did not go any further from that mound. Ends up swinging and grabs that tag onto Vinny, as now Vinny's going to be making his way over towards right side of Shaq, away from where Gustavo is working. So a good chase spot, definitely, as they just need to pop one more gen, and Angels is completely unaware of the amount of progress that is going on right now, as two survivors are going to be making his way over. He did catch Bucky going over, so he's going to have to be forced to take action and definitely try to interrupt this, but it does seem like they are trying to at least commit to it, as they do end up doing so. Unfortunately, not going to be any good for Cynic, as that is going to definitely result in the 2-0, but this is not over just yet, as he still has Noed, and he still needs to try his best to get a good result. Ends up trying to go for that, but Gustavo did not take into account that he could have had Noed, especially with the wind condition that was in play, so definitely not his fault. But right now, we're going to be turning our attention over towards Bucky, who's instantly going to go down, as Vinny's going to pop a gate off in the distance and just quickly take an out. A super smart decision by Sinners. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered either way, but still, they did amazing. And even Angels with this very, very, very good combat, so the score would at least look closer. Jeez, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, especially when they had the fourth generator done, I was scared a little bit, because if we would have now need to make a decision about restarting this, because there is some evidence in the background, but it would come down to a referee call from our team, and when it's only one generator, or like, do we replay? Do we count him as eliminated? Like, or do we give Sinners the win? It would have been one of the most difficult decisions we potentially ever made. And I was really praying that they get this last generator done so the disconnect doesn't matter, and they actually smashed it through. And let's be honest, they did 4 generators in a 3v1 unexpected. Like, when you lose a survivor early on, you at least know about it. Like, you can say, okay, let's sacrifice our team member, let's put in generator pressure instead. Here, the survivor disconnected absolutely mid-match, and they had no idea what was going on. They had nothing set up for it. So huge shout out to Sinners to just casually pulling a best of 3 with missing one survivor. Cynic, so sad to see you leaving. One of our top seedings, one of the favorite teams here. Yeah, very sad to say bye-bye to you in the winter circuit, but Sinners, I think you guys can celebrate tonight. You have so many fans with you. You represent the entire South American scene as one team, so you can really be proud tonight and prepare for the upcoming weekend. Well done.